Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Vidane TV, where it is NEPs night in America, baby. Thank you so much for tuning in here tonight, live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, all over the place, all over the internet, where we like to be. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. up here in the broadcast booth, and alongside me, Aaron Creed. Aaron, we're at Vegas. It's NEPs night in Vegas, baby.
Oh, yeah, it's great to be back in virtual Vegas, and sure it's nice and warm for the month of January as we get ready to go racing on the 1.5 mile. And currently everyone's out there doing their best qualifying run. And man, we've got a close point battle going into this race as the season continues.
Yeah, count them, 2 points separate Reagan Parent, the leader, and Kenny Kibbe there in second place. And take a peek right there on the left-hand side of your screen, that Vidane TV scoring tower. Kibbe on the pole for right now. Have just a few more moments left in qualifying. Evan Bollier in third place, 17 markers back. Stephen Daddio and Brent Roy up in the top 10. Corey Casagrande, John Peters in 6th and 7th coming into tonight. So, gonna be an interesting race here. A little bit bigger track, 1.5-mile cookie cutter style here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. A little bit different than the short track beating and banging that we're seeing. I'm really looking forward to the race here, especially after seeing how practice went down the last half hour or so. Everybody really clicking off some good lap times, so I'm really excited to see this race.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to jinx it and say anything on what the race we're expecting, because the last couple races have been a little bit messy. So we'll see what happens tonight, though, and everyone's going to get ready here to line up here very shortly. I think we got about 26 cars on the grid, and they're separated all by less than a half second. So it should be a good night of racing here in Nevada as we get ready to get going here momentarily.
I'm not sure what the weather is right now in Vegas. I know it's probably a whole lot warmer than it is here in southern Connecticut, but in any sense, shoot on over to Vidane.net. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, all sorts of cool stuff. It's got the Vidane.net or the Vidane TV brand, rent a race car, Angry Tree Guy, all that good stuff. A lot of Grand Theft Auto stuff in there as well. Take a peek at that. Vidane.net. Use promo code Liberty for 10% off. Just don't tell Wes that we're borrowing his promo code from the Tuesday Night League there.
Yeah, I got to pick up.
Oops, sorry about that.
I was going to say, we got to pick up myself some of that gear, but yeah, getting close here to going green very shortly as they're wrapping up qualifying.
And we quickly approach that 8:22 marker, the basically the green flag marker each and every Thursday night here in the NEP series. Something that we really look forward to here on Vidane TV rather. And as the points get, or as we go further and further into the season, we always have to make mention here. John Peters, 3-time reigning and defending champion. As you can see, the lights come up, and what's that Jason Aldean song? The lights come on, and something else goes low. I can't remember the words of it. But in any sense, John Peters struggling a little bit in the season. Back in 7th in points. Has himself a solid qualifying effort, though. He's going to start P3.
I was going to say, I'll let you be the expert on the country music, because that's not my deal. But yeah, we're going to see the starting lineup here on the front row. We've got Kenny Kibbe, one of those points contenders, starting on pole. And what a qualifying run for Keith Lord, putting his number 17 on the outside of the front row.
We made mention, reigning, defending, three-time series champion John Peters going to start P3. How about that? Matt Chinoski in the 42 going to start outside row number 2.
Row number 3, Steve Daddio. He's been a front runner all season long. And then Ryan Salvatore, kind of that outside row, a good amount of surprises there. He puts his number 12 starting in the 6th spot.
Cream rise into the top 4 in points qualifying in the top 7. How about Evan Bollier in the 56? Is that the row you just did? No, you did Daddio. Evan Bollier here in the 56. Yeah. Jason Ricker there in the 9, starting in 8th.
And we'll welcome back Johnny Miller after a couple weeks away. He starts 9th. And Corey Casagrande starting in 10th in the number 7 CT.
Reagan Parent going to start that 17 car back in 11th. Brent Roy, good qualifying effort for the Camry kid. That 26 car rolling off P12.
We take a look at the rest of the starting lineup. A good qualifying run for Bobby Shipp starting in the top half of the field. in his rookie season in the NEP. And there we see Austin Belke starting 14th. Ryan Messer, last week's winner, back in his own car, starting in 16th, with Brandon Newhouse currently 5th in points, I believe, starting in 15th.
And you can see as we get down in get down into the corner there, as the rest of the starting grid scrolls across your screen, looking like 27 cars making the call here tonight. 69 laps, count them, nice. Ahead you get Las Vegas on the docket, and we're going to start with lap number 1. Lights off, and the iRacing pace car going to dip on down to pit road for the very first time this evening, and we will wait for Barney in the flag stand to throw that green flag that we have been waiting for. It's NEPs night in Vegas, baby.
And here we go. Kenny Kibbe going to get the advantage here going into row 1, but look who's right on his tail. John Peters. This is one of his best starting spots all season, and he is going for that lead right from the get-go. Peters very hungry to get that first win of the season, and he is looking low on Kibbe, but Kibbe's keeping a good line there through the corners, and I believe Kibbe is going to have enough to lead that first lap as we come into the tri-oval.
And this is one of the things drivers are going to have to keep an eye on and write down in that notebook, the virtual notebook, to keep in mind that high side already seems to be coming in. Ashton Rieke would be excited. He always tells us here on Verdane TV, the high side's going to come in. And there it is already here on laps number 1 and 2, looking pretty strong. But right now, everybody trying to chase down Kibbe. Peters right in behind him in his tire tracks. Evan Bollier, Steve Daddio, Keith Lord, the current top 5 as they run.
Interesting, Lord's slipped back there to 5th after starting outside of the front row, as we see some of those drivers using that apron in the tri-oval to get a little speed there. And right now, though, everyone running pretty single file at the moment. It's 2 drivers that started on the outside slipped back a little bit. So the outside on the initial start didn't work, but we see the outside really coming in as we run at speeds. There's Zane Farrell in the number 14, started deep in the field. 25th, I believe, tonight. So he's making his way up through the pack, or trying to, as he gets below Scott McDonald here in the 44. And Zane's got a little bit of ground to make up. He started off the season real well, but has slipped back ever since in the standings. He's going to try to rebound for the second half of the season.
And we got to give Zane Farrell a shout-out here tonight, jumping on board as a last-minute sponsor. He sent us a logo here earlier on before the race, but unfortunately the file got corrupt. But it's New England, Pennsylvania. Shift Marketing and Designs presents the I Hope Brent Doesn't Wreck Me 69 nice here at Las Vegas. So throwing a little bit of shade from back there outside the top 20.
Definitely, he's going to have to kind of put his words where he's going to have to back up his words now here shortly, and either move his way up the pack, not wreck himself, or avoid Brent's wreck if he does happen to. So we'll see what happens. There's last week's race director, Mike Hopkins, running in the 78 this week, back in the driver's seat, running in the 20th spot, trying to keep that top 20 spot from Zane Farrell, who continues to pick up a couple spots here and there. And some good racing here in further back in the pack. Drivers trying to make their way towards the front.
Making our way back up through the field here. They can see Austin Belke in the 24, Brian Shipp in the 48 going back and forth here as we work lap number 6. Dale Glessner up in front of him, has a battle with the 29 car of Spencer Davis. Brandon Newhouse there in the Oreo machine. Easy enough for me to say. Old Chalu in the Charles Lewandowski 01 machine. He's got a side-by-side battle between Casagrande and Messer. And man, there is racing all over the racetrack here. They're all trying to chase down Kibbe. He's set sails just a little bit. He's got better than half second lead.
Yeah, some comers and goers, but Kibbe is definitely holding court up front. John Peters kind of settling in there in second. Evan Bollier into third, but we see some competitors kind of slipping back. We were just talking about Corey Casagrande, started inside the top 10, now outside the top 10. So, yeah, some drivers may not be as satisfied with their race setup as they were with their qualifying setup earlier. How about that, Paul? We've already clicked off 8 laps in this race. I'm kind of surprised that it's gone by this quickly already. We're going right through this thing so far.
Picking them up and putting them down last time by Kenny Kibbe, 31.12 on the stopwatch. So really racking off some quick lap times. Got to give a shout out to that one car of Ryan Miller. We made Ryan Miller. Yep, Ryan Messer in that one car. Easy enough for me to say. We see him a lot here on Verdane TV. We actually just saw him this past Tuesday night when the RBR Maritime Series kicked off season number 6 at Lanier. Led a whole bunch of laps in a super late model race and 150 lapper there at Lanier, and ended up slipping a little bit further on back towards the finish, but very strong in the iRacing world. And Ryan Messer trying to make a little magic happen, trying to break into that top 10 for the first time here tonight.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of a handful here, though. It seemed like Regan Parent was trying all he could to get around Messer, and he finally did. Now we see Corey Casagrande going to the outside, Charles Lewandowski looking to the outside, and Brandon Uhouse. So that inside line not working for Ryan Messer right now, and he's a little further back than we're used to seeing him. When we talked about earlier in the season, it was the story of the Ryans towards the front. And right now, we don't have any of them in the top 8. We got Ryan Salvatore, who's the top running Ryan right now, in 9th, looks like.
And you can see slowly trying to move from the middle lane up to the high side. Seems like there's just a little bit of extra grip there. As I say that, Brent in the 26, Brent Roy, tries to take a peek down low to see if he can take away that 9th position. And up front, up in front of them, you see the 42 car, Matt Shanoski, drop it back just a little bit from where he qualified, up in the top 5. Johnny Miller up in the 6 car, right up in front of him. Jason Ricker in the 9, and back into the top 5. It's still Kenny Kibbe up front, John Peters, Evan Bollier, Steve Daddio, and Keith Lord as they run.
Yeah, and they're going side by side for that 5th spot. See Ricker and Lord battling for that. Actually, Daddio and Lord battling for that spot. And Lord's going to make his way back up to 4th. So some of these drivers that slipped back early on are starting to move their way back up, back towards the front. Matt Shanowski's picked up a couple spots. Keith Lord picks up a spot right there. And now he's setting his sights on Evan Bollier. John Peters, meanwhile, has opened up about nearly a half second on Bollier, and is more than a half second behind Kibbe at the moment. Then we've got our first yellow, 13 laps in, and we got cars spinning.
Yeah, a couple of cars towards the back of the pack finding themselves pointed in the wrong directions. We're going to pull up the U-House Racing Designs instant replay real quick, take a peek at what went down to bring that caution out. You can see the 29 car of Spencer Davis getting a little bit of a piece of that inside wall down towards the entrance of pit road, and it looks like it may very well have started with those two drivers.
Yeah, I was going to say, since his teammate Dylan Kopech's not in the field today, we had to have one of the team bring out a yellow, but doesn't really look like it was his fault here. He kind of moves up in front of Belke right here, and they just kind of ran out of room there. And the 24 turns the 29 around there. And, yeah, it did look like 29 was backing up a little bit to the 24. So, interesting incident that happened there. But both of them not too much damage, and it looks like they'll just regroup and join the back of the field.
Heads up driving by the 78 of Mike Hopkins and the 14 of Zane Farrell, able to avoid calamity back there. And you can see just a little bit of damage there on the 29 of Spencer Davis. You see he'll probably come down pit road here and get a little bit of service action. And as we take a peek back up towards the front, couple of fakers faking them out just a little bit. There's a couple of more, and it looks like Reagan Parent in the 17 is going to be the first driver off pit road. Ryan Messer joins him. Charles Lewandowski, Zane Farrell, Kyle Casagrande, Scott McDonald, Cody LeBlanc, Jeff Brown, Spencer Davis, Jared Adams going to be the drivers coming down pit road to get some service here.
Second week in a row, we've seen some fake outs like that. Maybe not as obvious as last week, where some drivers nearly almost crashed into the pit wall there. But yeah, Regan Parent last week had a bit of a different pit strategy. It worked out for him, and he kept him up there in the points race after not really running towards the front a whole lot. And looks like you said, he came down pit road earlier than some of these other leaders, was the first among the leaders to come down. And you see he's down and away. Spencer Davis down and away. Zane Farrell. A lot of competitors that were towards the back decided to come down pit road. There's Kyle Casagrande. Haven't seen him in a couple weeks, I don't believe. So good to see him out here in Vegas making the trip out west. And everyone's going to rejoin the field, and we'll go back to racing here in a couple laps.
Lights still on top of the iRacing pace car here, and we had some exciting news in the real racing world. And we're going to talk to that driver holding on to second place right now, trying to get up to win his first race of the season here, reigning defending series champion. John Peters, you got a copy?
Hey, Paul, what's happening?
Not too much, man. Not too much. We had a busy weekend up at a little bit of a car show here on Saturday night, Sunday. Big announcements this weekend in G&G's gift, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a great weekend last weekend up in Augusta and awarded Bobby Timmons with the G&G's gift sponsorship for 2023. So it was awesome. We had a lot of support and definitely a night of celebration for Bobby and our finalists. So it was great. We look forward to supporting him all year long.
Absolutely. You can get hooked up on Facebook as well. Anybody else or anywhere else we can find the G&G's gift? Any information on it?
We've got the Facebook page dedicated to that solely now, so you can find us G&G's gift, the Greg Peters Memorial sponsorship on Facebook for all you need to know.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, John. A little bit getting ready to go back to green. A little bit of work to do to hold on to that second position. Maybe even come back with a win here.
Sounds good. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Driver of the 09 car, reigning defending series champion 3 times in a row, that 09 car of John Peters, still searching for that first win of the season. But right now, going to restart up in a good spot in that second spot in the high side. He's got Kenny Kibbe down low, going to restart from the pole. Evan Bollier, Keith Lord, Jason Ricker, the top 5. This is going to get good.
Oh yeah, and they're all. We're about to see some really good racing once again. The first restart of the night. So Kibbe chose the inside, so Peter's going to be on the outside. The first start, we didn't see the outside really get to move and moving until we were well under green. So once again, Kibbe gets the advantage, and that inside line is going to get a bit of a head start there, as it should, because the leader does set the pace on the restarts, and that does also allow Evan Bollier to capitalize. And for now, he's going to take second. John Peters, he had a run there, but had to back off there slightly. And they're going to run into turn 3 here and see what happens. Stephen Daddio, and we had it looked like maybe some contact there further back. But everyone keeps it going for the time being. We're coming back around to complete lap number 18.
I got a feeling that 29 car of Spencer Davis has some fresh tires underneath it, because he just passed about 4 cars like they were standing still using that high side. A little 3-wide action up in front of them. They still trying to work on a U-House up in that Oreo blue number 3 car. They get it sorted out. Charles Lewandowski can hold on to the spot. But these drivers know this racetrack 3-4 lanes wide, and they're using every single bit of it.
Oh, yeah. That definitely is a very wide intermediate 1.5 mile trial. So a lot of room as we see, that white line's not an out of bounds line here. So look at that great shot that we had there going into the turn 1 area. And lots of battling going on. You see Brian Salvatore on the outside and Charles Lewandowski. And I never really noticed Charles has that like dark green kind of jade green kind of look to that number 01. And it's looking really good right now on the track as he's running an 8th.
Sure, paint scheme for the 01. One of the coolest things about the NEP series, we usually mention it each and every week here on Verdane TV. Lots of connections with the real racing world and the sim racing world here in the NEP series. And a lot of these paint schemes you've seen on an actual racetrack if you're up in the Northeast or really anywhere up or down the East Coast. So it's always cool to be able to make that connection. You can see Charles Lewandowski having a great run. He's up 11 spots from where he qualified, just outside the top 5 and 6th.
Yeah, definitely having a good run. And like you were saying, I mean, if you were at Dillon Motor Speedway on Sunday, you would have seen a mini stock that looked a lot like that number 7 NH that Cody LeBlanc is driving. And I know Cody's not having the run he wants to have today, running in 18th right now, mired in that pack of cars as he's trying to find a way around Ryan Messer. They're going to he thinks a little better of it, as they were almost going to go 3 wide there. But right now he's kind of following the 1 and the 78 of Hopkins. And the wow, here we go. Now we're going 3 wide. Dale Glessner on the outside in the 10. And this driver's trying to find their way around Hopkins, it looks like.
And you can see getting stacked up 3-4 wide right in there behind everybody getting, a couple of cars up into the wall. I believe that would have been Brent Roy up to the outside wall. A little puff of smoke, but we stay green Still 3 wide back there. How about that? Glessner in the 10 up on the high side. Davis in that 29 down low. Messer in the middle, and Messer's going to go all the way down to that white line. Almost do a little Stafford Speedway action there and try and use that apron to help turn the corner. Messer goes even lower. He goes all the way down to the grass.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about before, finding all that room that's available here on this speedway and trying to find the fastest way around. And a lot of battling going on. There's was that Zane Farrell that was diving low? As he's worked his way into the top 5. He must be on some fresh tires, like we were talking about Spencer Davis on, as he is breezing by some of these competitors. Charles Lewandowski, meanwhile, has shot into the lead. It's like a 3/4 second lead too. So I think it's going to show that tires may make a difference here. Lewandowski and Farrell did pit. Cody LeBlanc, we talked about him being way back in the pack. He's up to 10th. He was one of the drivers that pitted for tires. So, some interesting coming and going here in this race right now as Bollier, Peters, and Kibbe have fallen back to 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively.
And that right there is going to be something a lot of these drivers and crew chiefs are going to be paying attention to. The last time we checked in with Charles Lewandowski in that 01 car, he was outside the top 5. Watching some 3-wide action back, mid-pack on back, all of a sudden, brand new leader in that 01 car, driving away now. 3/4 of a second lead over Zane Farrell. We may mention tonight's sponsor of the I Hope Brent Doesn't Wreck Me 69 Nice. And he's got a little bit of a gap in behind him to the 3rd place driver right now, Evan Bollier.
Yep, and right now, this might be the biggest lead we've seen all day. Kenny Kibbe had about a 6/10 second lead on John Peters earlier on, and now we've seen that's kind of switched a little bit. Further back, Spencer Davis, he's working his way through the field up to about 15th spot at the moment. It's taken some competitors a little longer to work their way through the pack than some of them that have worked their way successfully, as we see Brandon Newhouse and the 3 Jared Adams. We haven't talked about him yet, the 43, but having a good run, running with the pack here, trying to find his way into the top 20. And we're going to be approaching halfway in about 7 laps. So we'll see if anyone ends up being a taker onto pit road. As Cody LeBlanc has worked his way into the top 5 and is passing Evan Bollier and John Peters now, once again, pretty easily. So these tires, once they kind of age, it seems like you're going towards the back pretty quickly.
And we don't have access to the driver voice chats as they're out there racing, drivers talking to each other, crew chiefs, but you can tell everybody other than Lewandowski, Farrell, and LeBlanc are screaming for a caution flag to come down and get full Mr. Feelgoods on the bottom of these race cars. You can see the 01, 14, and the 07 all came down under that last caution after getting faked out by a lot of the drivers up towards the front. But Lewandowski, Farrell, and LeBlanc using those fresh tires to drive all the way up and take over those 3 podium spots.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see if it holds up. Which pit strategy is going to hold up is the big question. Once we get a little further down the path in this particular race. Right now, everyone's kind of filing in single file. These folks on the older tires probably just trying to keep their cars going straight. So I'm sure they're sliding around a little bit more in these corners. As we have a yellow, looks like Ricker, Glessner, and a couple others are involved.
Yeah, a handful of drivers going to bring out the second caution flag here on lap number 30, and we'll take a look at the U-House Racing Design instant replay and find out exactly what went down and get that taken care of for sure.
Yes, we'll see what happened here. Tough break for Dale Glessner in the number 10. I believe it was last week that he had a podium finish and had a really respectable run. Yeah, it looks like they kind of just got stacked up here going into the backstretch.
And we will take a look at that U-House Racing Designs instant replay. Focus in that 10 car up on the high side. Mike Hopkins in the 78 down below him. Looks like there's a little bit of contact between Sal and Davis up front. And then you see Ricker get into the outside wall a bit, kind of bounces off into the 10. And there's a tough. Oh, that's a big hit. That's the 04 car, a ship. Down at the bottom, that's the other ship in the 48 car. So a couple of drivers getting some banged in bumpers there.
Poor brother Brian had he ended up having nowhere to go there despite slowing down, and we've got a whole lot of takers on pit road now.
This is going to be interesting. Points leader Regan Parent staying out on track. Jared Adams joining him. Everybody else coming down pit road, and you can see the race off. Zane Farrell using that track position that he gained. How about 4 wide coming off pit road? Phenomenal.
Wow, that was quite a race off pit road there for sure. But yeah, interesting to see Zane Farrell, Cody LeBlanc, Charles Lewandowski, who pitted the last time around, come back in. So unfortunately, we weren't really focusing on what was going on pit road, so we don't know who actually took how many tires and things like that. But we'll find out here pretty quickly once we go back green if the last restart was any indication.
Absolutely. A couple drivers staying out, the 17 and the 43, and Zane able to hold on to that podium spot for right now. In third, John Peters, Evan Bollier are the top 5 as they run. Charles Lewandowski, Cody LeBlanc, Steve Danio, Kyle Casagrande, and Kenny Kibbe back in 10th. And it looks like just about every driver still on the lead lap. Ricker and the 04 of Bobby Ship still down on pit road. Actually looks like they may very well be losing that lap now, but still a lot of drivers in this one. 25 drivers to be exact, working at lap number 32, and the lights are off in the iRacing pace car. We're getting ready to go green flag racing once again.
Yeah, we're nearing the halfway point, so I have a feeling that since everyone pitted before halfway, we'll see another round of pit stops before this race is over, especially with the tire wear that we saw there on that last green flag run. But a couple really good green flag runs there, so hopefully we'll continue that trend. I said I wasn't going to jinx it, but there we go again. So we'll see what happens there. But Regan Parent choosing the outside, Jared Adams on the front row. Good to see that 43 up there. And we'll see how long those two can stay out front, as Zane Farrell and John Peters behind them, I'm sure, are very hungry to make their way and lead their first laps of the event.
Biggest mover of the race so far is going to be Jared Adams in that 43 car, currently holding on to second. He's gained 25 spots from where he qualified, but keep in mind he is on older tires. Right in behind him going to be Zane Farrell, currently scored in at third. He's gained 22 spots from where he qualified there outside the top 20. So doing a great job as a sponsor of the race, trying to come home with a victory here in the High Hope Brent Doesn't Wreck Me 69 Nice. Green flag flies here on lap number 33.
Restart for Regan Parent and a better restart for John Peters as he accelerates his way to second. He's using that outside line to try to make his way as Jared Adams starts falling like a rock here a little bit in that number 43. Trying to hold on to that thing as some of these other drivers try to navigate around. And we see everyone keeping it clean, though, and being good heads-up driving there by everyone. And up front, though, we've got John Peters, now the new leader. And that's something we haven't had a chance to say very often this season. And once it gets going like that, it could be trouble for the rest of the competitors if history repeats itself.
A little bit of a puff of smoke there from, I believe, the third place car of Evan Bollier in the 56, and we've seen this happen before. Once we get about a midway through the season, John Peters starts to crank that wick up and starts racking off win after win after win. So that may very well be spelling out bad news for the rest of the drivers in the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. And you can see he's got just about a half-second lead over Zane Farrell in that 14 car.
Someone was really riding that outside there in the corner. I don't know. It was one of the white cars. But that was quite a bonsai move that was going on further back. But right now, back up front, Zane Farrell is trying with all his might to hold off Evan Boyer, who is putting on the heat, and we got contact. And are they going to keep it straight? They're going through the grass. We'll see if they keep it going. Right now, the green's staying out. And Boyer's going to get back on the track, and I think Zane Farrell did. So I think we're going to stay green. And tough break for both of those drivers, but we're still racing.
RSAL TV is going to have fun making the highlight video of that. I bet we're going to see that merry clip on the award show after the end of the season here. That was some heads-up driving by both Zane and Bollier, able to keep that thing, get them straightened out after they went a little bit sideways and keep this thing green. Peter's still leading over a second now, over 99. Steve Daddio, Kenny Kibbe there in the third position. Charles Lewandowski up into the top 5 once again, as is Cody LeBlanc and Kyle Casagrande trading positions in those 2-7 cars.
Yeah, some good battling going on right here. We got a new crop of drivers battling for spots, for second spot, and also a spot inside the top 5 right here. Now that we saw that near collision, or near catastrophe, I guess you could say, in the tri-oval a couple laps ago. So John Peters pulling away, biggest lead of the night, a little bit over a second, while Daddio is now in sole possession of second and is going to try to reel in on John Peters. Kenny Kibbe back up to third. Charles Lewandowski still holding on strong in the fourth spot. And Cody LeBlanc having a good run now in fifth.
Most of the field up front on the same tire strategy, coming down 7-8 laps ago under that last caution. You can see Reagan Parent, the points leader, currently scored on 18th, or in 18th on older tires. It looks like Kyle Casagrande getting pointed in the wrong direction. He's going to call for the tow truck and end his night a little bit early in that 007 car. We stay green, working lap number 39. That lead starting to shrink just a little bit. Steve Daddio in the 99 car has himself a little bit of clean air, and he's going to try and utilize it to catch the leader.
Yeah, just a little bit. He's holding a smooth line here in that as we ride along with him in the second spot, the Connecticut driver in the number 99, and a past NEP winner. And yeah, he really is. He's making up about a tenth a lap at this time, but it's probably because he's got that number 4 in his rearview mirror. Got to pick up the pace when Kenny Kibbe's coming fast. And you've got Ryan Messer moving up through the field for the first time tonight, running in the top 10. Once again, the tire situation has made a big difference because Regan Parent, the current point leader, well, he is way back in 19th spot now. So track position and pit strategy continue to be key, especially on this Las Vegas Motor Speedway surface. So back up front, John Peters continuing to do what he does in the 09, and we got a good battle for fourth between Connecticut natives Charles Lewandowski and Corey Casagrande, and New Hampshire racer Cody LeBlanc right there with them.
Side by side all the way around the racetrack, they get it sorted back out here. Daddy on the 99 trying to hold on to second, trying to move on up into the lead, trying to drive away from these guys back here that are running 2, 3, almost 4 wide around this Las Vegas Motor Speedway, working lap number 42. Want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight to Vidane TV, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., Ron, Aaron Creed in the production trailer. We're live all over the place, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Be sure to just do a quick search for Vidane TV. We'll pop right up. And got to give a shout out to the folks watching over in the Grand Theft Auto server, TrueFictionRP.com. Got us up on the big screen. How cool is that? Working lap number 43. Peter's still holding on to it by about 3/4 of a second over the 99 car at Daddio.
Yeah, not much has changed up front at the moment. But like we said before, there's probably going to be one more round of pit stops. These tires are going to start slipping and sliding a little bit as these guys work through the corners here in the coming laps. So, yeah, we got one battle going on a little outside the top 5. Ryan Messer trying to pick up another spot for 6th as he dives below Cody LeBlanc, and now they're both going to kind of take a different line than Corey Casagrande in 5th. So Messer successfully pulls off that pass as the field is going to lap by the 04 of Bobby Shipp. Kind of driving damaged after that wreck earlier, getting involved in that the second yellow that came out for the day. So tough break for Bobby Shipp, who turned in a good qualifying run earlier. Going to try to salvage a decent finish of this, because you never know what's going to happen when this comes down the stretch here in an NEP event. Right now, Brandon Uhouse having a good run in 8th spot. He's turned in a very consistent season so far. Actually, he's currently at 10th in points. I think I said earlier he's 5th. But yeah, Brandon Uhouse with a pole this year, and no wins, no podiums, no top 5s, but he's always been in the running there in that number 3 all season long. And we got another yellow, Paul.
Yeah, I think the yellow might have just been a delayed reaction to what could have been a massive wreck as for you, House, and our South TV as we were talking about them. Tell me that commentary curse isn't a real thing one more time. But we'll pull up the U-House Racing Designs instant replay and take a peek at it. But it looks like everybody's able to drive away okay, no damage. But man, scary incident for the 12 and the other couple of cars involved.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we'll see what happened here. I was so busy talking that I didn't get to see how it all started. So I'm watching the replay here for the first time as well. As there you see, looked like U-House just brushed the wall, and then some of the other drivers took evasive action there. So, like you said, it might have been just a quick reaction there to what could have been something even worse. Luckily, everyone kept it moving straight there. And but it's going to bunch up the field here. We're going to possibly see some more pit stops, and yes, we certainly are. Some of the leaders stayed out, but some other competitors decided to make their way in. Keith Lord down pit road, Corey Casagrande, Evan Bollier, Regan Parent trying to get into his pit stall, as we just saw, as Brent Roy pulls off pit road in the number 26. And I think he was the first one of the first to get out and away on pit road. So everyone coming in for service right now, and I still don't think it's the last series of pit stops that we're going to see though today.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I believe these drivers have two sets of tires down on pit road, and we saw under that first pit stop, we had a handful of drivers come down, take those four fresh tires after about 14, 15 green flag laps, and it absolutely showed that those tires are worth their weight in gold. So some of the drivers that stayed out may very well be trying to save that last set of tires for a 10, 15, maybe 20 lap run or so here. As we say that, 23 laps to go. Going to get that restart with about 21 laps to go. So lots of different tire strategies right now. John Peters holding on to the lead. Steve Daddio there in second. Kibbe, Lewandowski, and Messer, the top five as they run.
Yeah, we're going to see if these guys can keep their way out front, because we've seen that hasn't been a very successful kind of a feat. The last couple restarts, when there was there were the cars that had fresher tires towards the back. So it's going to be quite a task for competitors like John Peters, Stephen Daddio, Kenny Kibbe out front, but they might be working the strategy themselves, banking on another yellow potentially coming out before this race concludes, then having the fresher tires potentially, and working their way back through the pack before this race ends. We saw that there were some competitors that were able to do that pretty quickly during that third green flag run, I believe it was, or maybe it was the second one. So remains to be seen how this is all going to play out.
We've got ourselves a little bit of time here, so we'll see if we can talk to tonight's race sponsor of the I Hope Brent Doesn't Wreck Me 69. Nice, Zane Farrell in the 14 car. Giving away his cards early, showing just how important fresh tires are, and now everybody knows. But going to be restarting here 10th, Zane. You got 20 laps or so to make a little magic happen. What do you got for him?
Absolutely nothing.
All right, back to us in the booth.
We'll see if he can hit his number. We can see if he can hit his number on the roulette wheel, anyways, when we go back racing. So Zane Farrell will round out the top 10 when we go back to the restart. Austin Belke in 9th. I can't tell if it's, well, we'll say in row 4 it's Dale Glessner and Ryan Salvatore. In row 3 it'll be Ryan Messer and Cody LeBlanc. Row 2, Kenny Kibbe and Charles Lewandowski. And then the front row, John Peters and Stephen Daddio. Peters going to choose the outside for the restart. Daddio the inside. So we'll see what happens here when we go back racing, which will be in about a half a lap.
And you can see there the pit stop strategy. These drivers up in the top 11 on 18-lap old tires. Everybody else coming down for some tires and some fuel. And we made mention to Zane in that quick and brief but ferocious interview of the driver of the number 14 car, we see just how worn these tires get. after about 14, 15 laps or so. So I got a feeling we're going to see a big mix-up here from the top 10 and further on back. Those drivers with the 4 fresh tires going to try and get up through this field rather quickly and really utilize the fresh rubber that they've got on those race cars. Up towards the front, Peters and Daddio side by side for the lead. Taking a quick peek at the timing and scoring. 25 cars still on the lead lap, taking this green flag with 20 laps to go. And there goes the 09 car, getting a jump on the high side, but Daddio down on the bottom. He's going to see if he can make it down to the turn 1.
Yeah, it seemed like Peters and Daddio brought them down pretty slowly, and so we're stacking them up behind, and one of them involved is the guy that we just talked to, I believe.
Yeah, Zane Farrell in the 14 car stuck, it looks like, in the front of the Brown machine, the number 27 car. So definitely a tough break. There he goes, gets it going away and slams into the wall for good measure. Frustrating end to a night here, but we'll take a look at the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. There's another version of that commentary curse, it seems like.
Yeah, a little bit. We even had to curse it by interviewing him, and looked like he got caught up in someone's mess here as we went back to green.
Yeah, and we saw the restart a little bit on the wonky side there in the top 10, but we'll take a peek at it here on the U-House Racing Designs instant replay. Focus in on that 14 car up top. You can see those drivers with the fresh tires really just driving on by, and there is the contact. It gets right into the quarter panel of Corey Casagrande and stacks up lots of drivers here. That's a tough break when you got a couple of drivers. There's Jeff Brown in the 27, just giving him a little bit of a tap, saying hello, and I'm sure they're exchanging phone numbers or something there in the 14 and the 27.
Yeah, tough break for Jeff Brown there, making some contact there, and a little more contact in that inside wall for good measure for Zane Farrell at the end of that replay. But yeah, a lot of drivers are going to have to come down pit road and see if they can salvage something here for this remaining, probably have about 16, 15 laps remaining when we go back to green. And interestingly, I don't think we saw the leaders that stayed out for that last restart come in. So those drivers going to try to go another restart, kind of get a few more laps on those older tires, and then maybe put on those fresh sneakers for the last dash of this race that they're hopefully expecting something like that to be in the future, in the cards, I guess you would say, since we're in Vegas. Maybe their gamble will pay off.
Half a dozen drivers or so still down on pit road, getting some of that virtual sheet metal banged out there. You can see a good shot of the Peters machine, the 09, holding on to this one. Shows the outside on that last restart, which is something we don't really see. The option is always there for the leader to choose the inside or the outside. And in most cases, especially with the short tracks, we see these drivers just kind of pick the bottom side. But this time with older tires here, mile-and-a-half intermediate cookie cutter track here at Las Vegas, Peters jumped up on the high side. It seemed to work out pretty well for him, but we get another opportunity to see another restart here. Fourth caution. Seen some great racing throughout the night. Just a couple of incidents here in the second half that gives us just a little bit of time to kind of catch our breath, take a quick sip of an ice-cold beverage, and make sure that we're ready to finish this thing strong here. 17 laps to go at Las Vegas.
It's still a pretty long way to go here with 17 to go. I mean, the laps have clicked off pretty quickly here, but a lot can be settled here as the laps continue to wind down.
Once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight to Vidane TV's coverage of the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., Aaron Creed alongside me in the broadcast booth. Doing a little action here on a Thursday night, NEPs night in Vegas here this evening, and we're live all over the place. The Vidane TV YouTube page, over on Facebook, on the NEP page, as well as Vidane TV, and on Twitch, twitch.tv/Strictly94. Probably going to be easing that Twitch channel right into a little bit of Grand Theft Auto later on after this race, after the Turn 4 podcast post-race show, where we're going to talk to the top three finishers in this one. And drivers still single file around the racetrack, following that caution car, a little extended cleanup here. First big wreck of the night, and a couple of drivers towards the back involved. Still actually down on pit road, trying to get some repairs done. The 44, Scott McDonald, Corey Casagrande, Bobby Ship, and Zane Farrell still setting on pit road. Looks like they may have actually wheeled those cars to the garage area and being done for the evening.
Yeah, tough break for some of those competitors. They'll just have to rebound when we go back to we're going to another party city next week, Nashville Super Speedway. Go get our steel guitars and our cowboy hats and all that kind of stuff ready. So interesting facility that's kind of unlike any other that the series races on, the 1 1/3 mile concrete racetrack. So that'll be another interesting one when we come back around here for NEP Night in America in next Thursday.
Yeah, we've seen that Nashville Super Speedway a couple of times here on Verdane TV, and always puts on a heck of a show. So looking forward to seeing the drivers of the NEP series try and conquer that next Thursday night. And it's going to be right here, live on Verdane TV. So make sure your friends and family know. Give us a like, the subscribe, the follow, the share, all that good stuff. And let everybody know that you're watching a little bit of iRacing action here this evening. And we've got everybody lined up 2 by 2 behind that pace car. He's going to be taking that left-hand turn down the safety of pit road. We're going to get that restart once again here on lap number 15. Tire strategy is a big question right now. Top 10 or so on 15 plus old tires. Everybody in behind has fresh ones. Green flag flies again. John Peters going to restart from the pole position, choosing the high side this time around. He's going to try and beat Daddio into turn 1.
Yeah, a bit of a slower restart again, but everyone seems to have it together here as we reach the final 15 laps of this event. Still side by side for the top spot. As there we see Peters and Daddio. Daddio's not giving up that lead right now. And Daddio's going to try to lead his first lap of the race here, and he's going to have a good shot at it as we come out of turn 4. With those older tires, the car's still sticking, though, in the number 99, and he's going to just miss leading that lap. 0.01 seconds, I think it was, at the line, as both cars now drift a little high. It's allowing Ryan Messer to reel it in the number 1 machine, and we got trouble behind them.
Big trouble in Little China. Caution flag number 5 flies here with 14 laps to go. Mike Hopkins able to get through the calamity there, it looks like, but a handful of drivers not able to say the same thing. Caution flag flies. We'll take a peek at it here on the U-House Racing Designs Instant Replay.
Yeah, we'll take a look and see what happened here. Cody LeBlanc was one of the cars that did end up around. And I don't know if it was him that, there was some contact there going for a spot inside, I think, inside the top 10 right there. Dale Glessner, Keith Lord, and Corey Casagrande kind of like, I don't know if that was anyone's fault right there. That was kind of just all 3 cars connecting right at the same time almost. Kind of, Lord had a run, but is kind of like Glessner moved up a little bit. Lord didn't anticipate that was going to happen, and then LeBlanc was right there. So just a little bit of man, that's a tough one.
That is that's going to be one of those clips I think that gets reviewed a handful of times in the Big Red Trailer after this race. But man, just looks like 3 drivers going for the same piece of real estate here late in this one. You can see everybody gathers it back up, it looks like, except for that 7NH car. He keeps it going straight. I'll give him an 8 for the recovery. But going to come down pit road here, it looks like. Another 8, maybe 10 drivers or so down on pit road. Miller, Glessner, Ship, Parent, McDonald, Brown, Adams down there as well. They're going to see if they can get some virtual sheet metal damage. There you see the 14 still working on that car. Actually looking like a little bit of a modified there on the front of that thing, missing the front clip.
Yeah, there's these cars that Las Vegas is not a track to be running without fenders or bodywork, so it's not gonna work out the best. So, but these guys are trying to keep things going and do what they can. So, we have, like you said, there's 25 or so cars still on this racetrack, and every position counts when we talk about the NEP. So when we go back to green, once again, Peters, Daddio, and them staying out. I guess they're kind of waiting until we're inside 10 laps to go to make their move, potentially, and come down pit road. And the later you wait, though, the less time you have to find your way back to the front. So I have no idea who's going to win this one.
And we talked to the leader earlier on, John Peters, beforehand. Second place right now is being held by the 99 of Steve Daddio. Steve, we've seen a couple of restarts here. What's it going to take to get around that 09 car and win here at Vegas?
That's a good question. Being stuck out or stuck on the bottom here, I mean, we're late in the run on tires for me. I don't have much bite. He's carrying the momentum through the middle there. It's going to be something. I'm going to have to figure out something on the restart here, and hopefully he makes a mistake through the middle. So I don't know. Going to need a little bit of a bounce here on the bottom.
Going to be fun to see here. Second place driver Steve Daddio trying to get around John Peters on the 09 car, and we've seen John use that high side on the last restart or two, and really kind of forces to handle most on the bottom side. We saw a little bit of drift up action, kind of move the top two drivers up a little ways, open the door a little bit for the third place driver, Ryan Messer, but then we had that quick little caution flag further on back. So may very well see the same thing here. We've seen John Peters lead a lot of races in this NEP series on Vidane TV, and you and I both know, Aaron, John's a master of restarts. He does not do the same thing between two caution flags or two caution restarts. Sometimes he'll wait long time, wait for that a late restart. Sometimes he'll get going real early. We see a lot of drivers mix it up like that, and already showing right now he's going to be taking that high side once again.
Yeah, those last couple restarts, he kind of, hung back a little bit. And we got the one go signal, and we're going to be inside 10 laps to go. Interesting to hear Daddio saying he's going to pretty much kind of go for it here. And I wonder if part of the strategy might be they were anticipating several yellows in a row. And as we get down the stretch, I mean, track position then is key because you're just running up front and conserving. So is that part of the strategy, or are we going to see another yellow and then we'll dart down pit road? So we'll see what happens here, as we'll have 9 laps to settle it. When we go back to green, once again, going to be Peters and Daddio on the front row, Kibbe and Messer on row 2. Ryan Salvatore, give a call to him. He's been having a solid run all night long, started in the top 10, running in the top 10 around where he started. I feel like the last time I said something like that during a race, though, it all kind of unraveled. So hopefully it doesn't, with those beautiful white rims on the number 12, as we get ready to go back to green here.
Back up front, the 99 versus the 09. Peters electing to take that high side once again. And you made mention here, Aaron, 9 laps to go when we cross the stripe. This is going to get good. Some drivers on old tires, some drivers on brand new tires. Green flag flies once again. Good restart for Peters. Daddio slips up just a little bit, but he's going to be down on that bottom side. Has an opportunity to slide on up into the tire tracks there of Peters and try and use that high line.
Yeah, that time it was Peters that kind of mastered that restart. Not as close as it was the previous one. Right now, Ryan Messer is the driver on the hunt here. He's up to third, going inside Kenny Kibbe. And Ryan Messer seems to be the fastest car on the track. And right when I say that, he drifts up, though, and Kenny Kibbe's going to try to take advantage and take third back as we complete this lap and have only 8 laps to go. And right now, those drivers in the old tires are staying up front.
Riding on board here with the number 4 of Kenny Kibbe, doing everything he can to stay up in the top 5. Wants to try and win this race, but knows he's got an opportunity to take over the points lead. Came in 2 points behind Reagan Parrott in the 17 car as they run right now. That 17 car is way, way back in 19th position. Going to be an opportunity to make up a heck of a lot of points there for the 4 car. Crossing the stripe here, 7 laps to go.
And as you saw, Reagan Parrott, he's avoided a lot of trouble all season long and been towards the front and has been able to stay there most races. But with the hood off, this is probably one of the first times we've seen some significant damage to that number 17 machine. So Yeah, right now John Peters continuing to do his thing, but only with about a third of a second lead on Steven Daddio as we now click off another lap. 6 to go, and one driver on the climb is Brandon Uhouse, running an 8th spot in the number 3. He's doing a good job. He's got Evan Boyer there. Will be interesting to see if they can crack the top 5 before this race is over. Right now, some of these drivers that restarted up front are kind of holding court so far out front and doing what they can. But there you can see with the pit stop strategy, Peters, Daddio, Kibbe, Salvatore, Boyer, all on older tires right now and keeping their cars pretty much up there. Boyer's starting to slip back slightly, but right now, John Peters continuing to do his thing out front.
High five from Barney in the flag stand. 5 laps to go. Keep an eye on Rickard. Keep an eye on Uhouse. They came down under that last caution flag 18 laps ago to get fresher tires, and that's when we saw earlier on when those tires really start to get the grip to the racetrack. You can see a little bit of blinking issues there, connection issues for the 3 of Uhouse crossing the stripe with 4 to go. Trying to get around Kenny Kibbe there in the 4th position, but still holding on to it. 5th position, number 4 car, but they're all still trying to chase down Peters, who has set sail. A half a second lead now over Steve Daddio in the 99.
Yeah, I'm not counting out Charles Lewandowski, though, either. You're riding at 4th right now, and he was a leader earlier on, and we saw him get out to quite a good lead, too. Right now, he's going to be trying to work on the 1 on Ryan Messer, but with 3 laps to go, John Peters continuing to lead the way by about a half second on Steven Daddio. And Peters looks like he could be on his way to his first victory, finally, of this NEP season. But we still got 2.5 laps to settle it. And they're getting a little dicey further behind Peters right now for positions inside the top 10. One of them is Kenny Kibbe, trying to stay out of trouble. He's slipping back and almost out of the top 10 now. Actually rides an 8th at the moment, but that's a few less points that he's going to make up on the 17 apparent, who is still back in 19th right now. So it's going to be, right now, the way it's running, it's still going to be a good night for Kibbe, despite not being, maybe not having a winning car this weekend. And right now, John Peters extending that lead as he comes around and gets ready to take the white flag here this time by.
White flag, a white rag in the air for the 09 car of John Peters. Has not won yet this season. Is it finally time for the 09 car to crank up the momentum and get focused on this championship and try and defend his three-time New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series Championship? It took me the entire back straightaway to say the name of this series, but how about it? The 09 car down into 3 and 4 for the very last time, coming to the checkered flag for the very first time this season here in NEP. John Peters comes home with the victory. Steve Daddio gonna finish in 2nd. 3rd place goes to Ryan Messer, and then a bee's nest full of cars coming up on through the field. Great race here at Las Vegas, and man, oh man, John Peters, is this what he needs to get things going for that momentum for the rest of the season?
And how about that for John Peters? Currently outside the top 5 in points, but this is going to help for sure. We talked about the GNG's gift that was announced last weekend. So a lot of cool things going on in John Peters' life, and now a win here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway is another one to add to that list in the 09. So a great run by John Peters and all the competitors tonight.
Yeah, always great to see the NEP series do battle here at any racetrack, but it's always cool to see them kind of do the big track stuff here, burning them down for the 09 car. We're going to talk to the top 3 drivers, John Peters, Steve Daddio, and Ryan Messer here on the Turn 4 podcast post-race show in just a moment. Do got to give a shout out, though, once again, to everybody watching at home, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all over the place. We made mention, we always like to be interactive and live here on Verdane TV. Got to give a shout out to old Hank Beaker, watching NEP series from Beaker's Garage in Paleto Bay. Yes, that's Grand Theft Auto 5, but they're doing it live. They're watching a little NEP action here, and they watch John Peters come home with his very first win of the season. And Aaron, I think you finally you got yourself down to victory lane. When do we talk to that winner, John Peters, coming home with his first win this season?
Yeah, John, congratulations. Finally getting that first victory of the season. How does it feel?
Thanks, guys. It feels great, really. I was looking forward to this track. I had a lot of fun here last year, and I think these mile and a halves just tend to suit me pretty well with tire saving coming into play and really having to run a full race. So I was really excited to get here and just glad it all worked out. It's been a frustrating first part of the season here, but to finally get this win feels great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I know it's been a kind of emotional week for you. You announcing the GNG's gift that you were talking about earlier in the week, and then you made an announcement in recent days about your own racing career on the away from the virtual track. So I guess a little bit of emotions during the week, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, doing everything with GNG's gift has kept me really focused and excited about everything that we have going on there. So that's been really fun and an honor for us to do that. And then with my own news, it's something I've known for a while, but finally, putting the words down on paper and putting it out in the universe is a little bit different than just thinking it. So, yeah, definitely emotional week for sure, but for all the right reasons, and definitely still have this to do on Thursday nights with you guys, which I, look forward to and probably enjoy more because I don't have to worry about paying for wrecked things or buying tires. So it all works out. But yeah, definitely a big week, but just glad we could finally pull one out here in NEP.
And speaking of buying tires, virtual tires were a good a bit of a story tonight. And you pitted one less time than you and a few of the leaders pitted one less time. Was that the strategy all along, or was it kind of seeing how it would play out there down the stretch?
We'll see how it would play out. I mean, like I said, I love these style of races where you actually have to save tires. That's usually my strategy. I try to just coast the first 20 laps or so and let anybody go. It's kind of putting the heat on, and usually that pays off once we hit lap 25 or so. So you kind of have to do that to protect against having a really long run because the fall off ends up being pretty drastic once you get deeper. So that's pretty much my normal strategy. I played it about like I would anywhere else, but then coming to halfway there, you really never know when in these races if people are going to short pit the fuel window and come in early, if they're going to cut the race in half, if they're going to run it late. And we did have a few guys mix up the strategy there, but that caution we got, I think around lap 30, kind of took the guessing out of it for a lot of us. And I came in at that point with the idea that I wouldn't come again. So just try to take care of the tires and make sure I could have enough for a late restart like we got there.
All right, who gets it done for you here, or allows you to get it done here at Las Vegas for your first win of the year?
Well, I appreciate you guys at Vidane and everything that you do. Thanks to NEP for giving us a place to race. Thanks to my fiance and my 2 dogs for letting me do this. Thanks to my mom for watching and all the support that we have. Appreciate it. Have a lot of fun doing this and looking forward to the next one.
All right, doing the Polish victory lap. That's John Peters. Back to you, Paul.
Going to catch up with the second place driver. Once again, the driver of the 99 car, Steve Daddio, finishing it off in second place. Not quite enough there, though, to catch the 09 car. What else did you need?
Probably clean air. That was tough. I was trying to cut it down a little bit, maybe half a line on Peters, but you carry so much momentum as you move a little bit farther up the track, and I had to let off, and I don't think there was really any chance. And nothing, not taking any away from John. I mean, the guy can drive, and I think he's the winner. So congrats again, John. A hell of a run. So I kind of flipped strategies halfway through the race there. I was in full conserve mode right up until we pitted. And then it kind of felt more like go time. I thought we would get a caution that would be a little more advantageous to the strategy, and we never really got it. So I started burning my stuff up a little bit, and that's just really what happens. I didn't have anything for him at the end.
And we're on to, as Aaron said, not Ashton. Ashton was Tuesday night. Tonight's Aaron. Got to get some guys with names that start with something other than A around here. But in any sense, made mention, we're going to another party city next week, Nashville Super Speedway, another big track, 1.3 mile super speedway. A little bit different than the short tracks that we're used to here in the NEP series. You think you got anything for them next week?
I think anything that carries a little bit of speed, sure. I mean, we did some testing, not within NEP, but I felt fast there. I felt pretty good. I think it's another track I'll excel at.
100%. And we'll give you the opportunity here, Steve, to thank anybody that's watching at home, friends, family, sponsors, who gets it done for the 99.
As always, and my family, a few friends out there watching on YouTube and Facebook, really appreciate the support. It's fun talking to them after the race. But Daddy was Auto Parts, Reverie Brewing and YRD again. Brandon, he gives me a really, really clean looking car. I really appreciate everything out there. But appreciate the support from everybody. Thanks for watching. And again, thanks for the broadcast, guys. It's always fun.
Always a blast here on Thursday night. Steve Daddio finishing in at second here tonight. Good points tonight at Las Vegas. And Aaron, you've caught up with the driver of the third place finishing position. Second top 10 this week. Finished in eighth in the late model race Tuesday night in the RBR Maritime League. But you've caught up with our third place driver, Ryan Messer.
Yeah, and it's been a good couple weeks for you, even going back to last Thursday, Ryan, winning, subbing for Brent Roy there. But you're back in your own number one, and you pulled off a podium finish.
Yeah, this is definitely an unexpected one. Just barely made it back home in time to get on here. Ran maybe a couple laps in practice and then jumped right into qualifying and qualified 16th or something, so nothing really all that great. So we started deep in the field, and on the first set of tires, I wore those out pretty quick, just trying to get a feel for things. And in the second set, we made a little better use of them, and was able to just kind of pick away at getting up to the front. And then on that last 10 laps or so, John and Steve, they could get out ahead of me. So congrats to them. Congrats to John on the win. See, bad luck end for a bit, so that's good. Good race overall, though.
Yeah, that down the stretch you were talking about with what were you able to do that allowed you to pick off a car or two here and there, and eventually move into that third spot?
I had wore the right front off in the first run, so I kind of just got a feel for what line I needed to change. Las Vegas here is pretty tricky. Like you can burn tires up pretty easy. For as big and smooth as it is, it's pretty fussy. So just had to get a feel for it and then try to keep the tires under it, because I knew the last 10 laps there's probably going to be guys coming on new tires from the back. I almost debated on actually going down and getting my second set. But just figured that there'd be some yellows at the end, and just figured I'd chance it, and some other guys did that too, so paid off though.
All right, who helps you get here to third place tonight?
I'll give a shout out to my real world racing sponsors: Waterfront Pub and Eatery, McLaughlin Overhead Doors, Cabin Restaurant, Bumper to Bumper, Wonder Muffler, Cook's Construction, Watson's Home Building Center, Thunder and Lightning Motorsports, CarQuest, Excel Manufacturing, Northeast Distributors, Dana's Collision Center, Service Master, MC Hammer, Castrol. You guys at Vidane putting the races on. The NEP guys, just a great series to run in the winter and have some fun.
All right, that's Ryan Messer completing out a podium. I think we had Maine, Connecticut, and Maritime Canada represented there in the top three tonight. So a lot of variety there, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of variety here on Vidane TV. All sorts of different styles of racing, different styles of car, and everything like that. Off for a couple of days, off for the weekend too, it looks like, which is pretty exciting. Tuesday night back with the RBR Maritime League, as well as the Wednesday night. Tim's Corner Motorsports going to be hosting TCM Live. We're going to be running the RBR Maritime group on Wednesday night. Tuesday night, another league. Thursday night, NEP. Lots of action going on here at Vidane TV. Be sure to shoot on over to Vidane.net. Pick up your t-shirts, your sweatshirts, your hats, all that good stuff. Vidane TV, Rent a Race Car, Angry Tree Guy, Visual Pollution, all sorts of different brands over there. Be sure to get it hooked up and keep warm in the rest of the winter here as we get a little bit closer to the real racing season once again. But that's going to do it here for us tonight on Vidane TV. Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. up in the broadcast booth, as always, on a Thursday night alongside me, Aaron Creed. We'll catch you on the flip side. When we do, we are going to be doing it live.